Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Friday edition of our show. We have made it through another week here to kick off your weekend, sharing our thoughts on everything surrounding A's baseball. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grotto. Today is Friday the 13th. February 13th, we've got a good show for you. A's make another trade to make room on their 40-man roster as they trade Mitch Spence to the Kansas City Royals in exchange for minor league right-handed pitcher AJ Causey. We discuss why this trade is bigger than you think in terms of return package and how it speaks to the current health of the 40-man roster. Then we will name off each A's player that will be representing their country in this March's upcoming World Baseball Classic. A total of 12 A's throughout the organization will be competing, and perhaps a lucky number 13th may be added to the mix. We'll discuss all of those players that will be representing the green and gold next month. And before we kick it to the weekend, we conclude with our final edition of this offseason of this player in A's history. It'll be our last one as we will begin to shift our focus to previewing and sharing our thoughts on the 2026 A's season as the new year is shortly around the corner. So with this final edition, we will be discussing someone, of course, who recently we just discussed is welcomed back to the franchise in a baseball operations role. Of course, we are talking about the franchise leader in home runs, Mark McGwire. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right there, A's Day fans. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Friday edition of our show. Appreciate you kicking off your weekend with us. Before we jump into our topics of discussion, just want to give you all a friendly reminder of where you can find us. In addition to our podcast episodes that are available twice per week, and that is going to be changing rather soon. We are going to do some housekeeping on our next show on Tuesday of when you can expect future A's Day episodes. There are going to be a lot more to listen into. So we'll provide all that next week, so nothing to worry about for today. But be sure to continue to listen on your favorite platforms, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, wherever you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to A's there too as well. In addition, check out our social media platforms on Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, and be sure to check out our YouTube channel for A's player interviews, A's virtual baseball city destination guides to check out hotspots around our country and globally, wherever the A's may travel to compete in 2026 and beyond. We'll be sure to provide you with some spots to check out. Check out all of that exciting content and, in addition, our video podcast episodes on our YouTube channel. And to become an official subscriber of A's Day, check us out on Patreon, our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirts, A's autographed memorabilia, future A's game tickets, and so much more as we are growing this platform collaboratively. All right, without further ado, let's jump into the first topic point. As a trade went down yesterday, the Athletics have traded right-handed pitcher Mitch Spence to the Royals in exchange for minor league righty AJ Causey, per announcement from both clubs. Spence was designated for assignment by the A's earlier this week, and in a corresponding move, the Kansas City Royals placed righty Alec Marsh on the 60-day injured list to open up a roster spot for Spence. Now, in terms of who the A's will be sending, we are all familiar. The 27-year-old Spence didn't have to wait long to find a new home after getting DFA'd this past Tuesday. He'll head to Kansas City as a depth option behind a fairly set rotation. Marsh had labrum surgery in November and is set to miss the 2026 season. His placement on the 60-day IL was a formality at this point. The Athletics added Spence via the Rule 5 draft from the Yankees ahead of the 2024 season. He emerged as a mainstay in the rotation that year, piling up 151 in the third innings pitched across 35 appearances, with 24 of those being starts. Spence posted an ERA in the mid-fours with subpar strikeout numbers. He did well to limit walks and got ground balls at an above-average clip. The offseason additions of Jeffrey Springs and Luis Severino heading into this past 2025 season ended up squeezing Spence out of the rotation. He did end up making 32 appearances with the club, mostly out of the bullpen, apart from a few spot starts here and there. Spence briefly returned to the rotation in June. His performance as a starter was a 5.05 ERA, allowing 11 home runs, led to a demotion to the minors. Spence returned to the A's in September. He was hammered for 9 earned runs in 10 innings to close out the year. Spence will be built up as a starter with Kansas City, but the club likes that he has experience in both roles. The Royals currently have Bailey Falter penciled into the swingman spot. Now, who are the A's getting in return? Kansas City took Causey in the 5th round of the 2024 draft out of Tennessee. The 23-year-old righty began his pro career at high A this past season. After 40 in the third innings of 1.56 ERA ball with Quad City, he made the jump to Double A. Causey maintained a sub-2 ERA in 21 games with Northwest Kansas. He compiled a 1.72 ERA with more than a strikeout per inning in 48 appearances across the 2 levels. Scouting grades laud Causey's slider and changeup. His sidearm delivery helps his 90-mile-an-hour fastball play up a lot faster than it is. So, love this move because it speaks volumes on a couple different platforms here. So first, let's talk about the pieces involved. Mitch Spence, best of luck in Kansas City. It seemed like his time with the Athletics had just run out. Kind of ended the 2025 season on a sour note. It seemed like he got off to a pretty good start out of the bullpen, serving as an innings eater. And then when he got promoted to the rotation in June, it just did not fare well. Tried to go rediscover himself back in the minor leagues. Gets another opportunity in a bullpen role in September. Those struggles continue. It just seemed to lead to needing to part ways at this point. And they needed to clear space on the 40-man roster with the additions that the A's have recently made. So in this corresponding move, this is someone that the A's were ready to move on from anyway. They designated for him for assignment. And typically a lot of these players recently on the 40-man roster that the A's have done this with have been perhaps just out there looking for a new home or typically just claimed off waivers after they've been passed through the whole league and there weren't any suitors. But this time it seems like that the A's are able to be in a fortunate position that teams are reaching out to acquire these players that are no longer serviceable to the A's, but may provide a boost to their organization to fulfill a different area of need for them. And you're seeing this on a couple different occurrences, and now it's happening most recently here with Mitch Spence. This is someone that the A's just needed to clear off the roster, didn't expect anything in return, and yet they do end up getting someone, not just someone in return, but I think someone that could be part of the short-term and long-term plans. And with Causey, you're getting a different arm angle out of the bullpen. He is a Brad Ziegler type. He's not someone that's going to light up the radar gun, but he's going to come at you with multiple different arm angles and a different look that hitters aren't accustomed to seeing on a daily basis. So, and just seeing how he performed at both levels consistently at the minor leagues at single A and double A, don't be surprised if he starts at double A this year, but quickly ascends to pitch some big league innings. And you got to love the secondary pitches here. I think that's going to play well. And in a situation where this move did not need to happen necessarily, unless the Royals felt there was another team that was going to be vying for Spence's services. And so the A's are getting, I think, a valuable bullpen piece, adding to their depth in an unlikely source. But the other area of positivity to take from this is that this speaks to the current nature and the health of the 40-man roster. Like I was just mentioning, a lot of these guys in the past would be just cleared through. Now, like they DFA'd Max Schumann and a couple days past there, I felt like the Yankees needed an opportunity to upgrade and get a right-handed bat that can serve as a versatile defensive option. A's received a minor league right-hander return in that deal. Typically in the past, if someone in a similar position as Schumann would have just cleared waivers, again, these are the type of players that I believe that are going out there on the open market, which is fantastic. So I think there's a lot of positivity to take out of this and looking forward to seeing what Causey brings to the A's, because don't be surprised. Yes, this is a minor league deal, but don't be surprised. You will see him in spring training, and I think he could fit a role that is just going to provide a different look as this A's team looks to reconstruct their bullpen and find a consistent identity. Let's see how Causey fares and if last year is replicable. Most likely, I do believe that he will start the year at AA, but don't be surprised, like I said, if we see him come May or even the June timeline and perhaps making a positive difference. But I think this is a great get. I think this is going to be one of those you can bookmark this and we'll look back on it and just realize the amount of capital that was given up in this deal for the return. I think Causey has that much potential. And again, it's not based off stuff. It's based off the makeup of the type of pitcher that he can bring and a different look to this A's bullpen. I think there's a lot to like here. And I love this move, the move that these A's baseball operations team continues to make. So looking forward to seeing how Causey fits into the A's puzzle in 2026 and beyond. Let's move along here and let's talk about the World Baseball Classic that is coming up in March. It is going to be held from March 5th to 17th. And if you're not familiar with that is, don't worry, it isn't something that happens every year. It typically happens once every 3 years, to my knowledge. So if you aren't familiar, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what it's about, and then we'll jump in to discuss which A's players within the organization will be representing in this tournament. The World Baseball Classic, also referred to just as the Classic, or you may have heard as the WBC, it's an international baseball tournament sanctioned by the World Baseball Softball Confederation, the sport's global governing body, and organized by World Baseball Classic Incorporated, a partnership of the WBSC and Major League Baseball, along with the Major League Baseball Players Association. The tournament is the first of its kind to have national teams featuring professional players from the top level major leagues all around the world, including MLB and Nippon Professional Baseball, the NPB, which is Japan. In addition to providing a format for the best baseball players in the world to compete against one another while representing their home countries, the WBC was created in order to further promote the game around the globe. The 2023 WBC to date was one of the most viewed sporting events in the world. And in this tournament, there are, like I mentioned, going to be 12 A's players who will be participating. And now we'll share who will be representing and for which country. You may be all familiar. Center fielder Denzel Clark will be representing Canada. Darryl Hernandez and Carlos Cortez will be representing Puerto Rico. Ace Luis Severino and reliever Elvis Alvarado will be representing the Dominican Republic. Wei and Lin, Zhu Chen Xia, and Chen Zhang Ao Zhuang will all be representing Chinese Taipei. Brian Bulbus, shout out, who does actually follow A's Day. Appreciate him on Instagram. He will be representing Colombia. Joey Meneses will be representing Mexico. Max Durrington will be representing Australia. And James Gonzalez will be representing Panama. So best of luck to all those 12. I love this tournament because I feel like it is technically an exhibition, but you could definitely feel the importance of it, and especially with these guys, how endearing their home country meets them and representing them, putting their best foot forward. So I think all of that fosters elite competition, and really excited to see that these guys are going to get an opportunity to get a jump start on their 2026 seasons. I know there's always been a concern about having pitchers ramp up too soon, but I tend to differ, because I do believe that when you're playing at your maximum output, what matter does it make between being ready competitively and focused from day one in March as compared to saving it until June or July or whenever you're going to hit your peak? I'm not saying that you should rush your overall preparation, but I do feel like every time that you're out there competing, it should be the same mindset every time out there. So whenever you're going to be in a game situation, whether that is in spring training, whether that is in the World Baseball Classic, whether it's April, May, whatever task is out there, you should be treating it the same exact fashion. Now, if you want to play it safe, and that's why you have these rosters extended out, you have multiple arms. If you want to still track the same amount of pitch counts as if you were competing in the Grapefruit or Cactus League schedule games, you could still operate that way, the same way, but I think the competitive juices that'll be flowing are going to turn into a positive to have you ready sooner, mentally and physically, for this upcoming season. So for all those that maybe this is the first time you're going to be experiencing the World Baseball Classic, I believe you can enjoy it mostly on FS1 and Tubi, but be sure to check out the local listings so you don't miss them. They're going to be on all times of the day between March 5th and 17th, just because it is an international event. There's going to be games at different time zones, so be sure to, I believe Fox Sports, FS1, ESPN, MLB, they'll have all the times posted. Follow along. I know we'll do our best to follow as many of these games as we can. And be sure to check out our Bases, Barrels, and Ball Players podcast for a preview on our Friday show too as well. Definitely we'll go a little bit more in depth and give our predictions on who are some of the top players and teams in this tournament, who we think is going to emerge victorious out of what we think is going to be the most loaded tournament filled with talent since its creation back in 2005. But definitely looking forward to this. Again, this is something that doesn't happen every year, but always good to see that there'll be some green and gold representation. And while I said there's 12, there's perhaps a 13th player being considered to be added late to a roster. So Team USA currently doesn't have any A's representation on it, and there were some talks that they thought Nick Kurtz would be added as a first baseman, but due to the injury to Corbin Carroll, who is going to miss some time and is questionable for opening day, he has withdrawn from the World Baseball Classic roster. There has been considerations saying that they may be replacing his roster spot with Tyler Soderstrom, who I think would be a great fit there and would be a good experience for him. Again, getting those competitive juices flowing, getting some quality at-bats in higher pressure situations than what you're going to get in spring training. So hopefully he gets that invitation. I think Team USA would be getting a good one out there on left. Soderstrom having a solid 2025 year, and I think that's only scratching the surface with him. I think he's got so much more that he hasn't even shown or grown into yet. So rooting for him to get that experience. That would be cool to have another A's player on the international stage. All right, before we continue along, this episode is brought to you by Visit Mesa. Welcome to Mesa, Arizona, a destination for every season. Experience a destination where adventure, culture, and culinary experiences are limitless. As the gateway to the stunning Sonoran Desert and Tonto National Forest, Mesa invites you to explore its scenic waterways, kayak through winding canyons, or paddleboard along the Salt River. For a one-of-a-kind desert adventure, ride the waves or revel surf at Cannon Beach, the country's first surf park of its kind. Downtown Mesa is a vibrant hub, home to the Mesa Arts Center, public art, award-winning breweries, and local shops. Food lovers can explore the fresh foodie trail and the diverse flavors of Mesa's Asian district. Sports fans experience MLB spring training with the Chicago Cubs and athletics, or visit one of North America's largest youth sports complexes. As the world's first autism-certified city, Mesa is dedicated to accessibility and inclusivity for all visitors. All right, so like we mentioned on the top of the show, for our final edition of this offseason's This Player in A's History, we are concluding it today because we are shifting our focus to creating content and previewing the upcoming 2026 season. So with that, we typically like to do a personalized preview ep for each player, and we're going to do a lot more housekeeping around that for Tuesday's show. But that is not something that is going to be discussed on today or an area of concern. Just sit back as we kick into the weekend for the final edition of This Player in A's History, and I think it is rather fitting on how we are concluding it. It is one of the franchise's legends that have donned the green and gold and is the current franchise leader in home runs with 363 of them. Of course, we wrap up talking about Mark McGwire. McGwire was born in the Los Angeles suburb of Pomona, California. His father was a dentist. He attended Damien High School in Laverne, California, where he played baseball, golf, and basketball. He was drafted in the 8th round by the Montreal Expos in 1981 draft, but did not sign. McGwire played college baseball at the University of Southern California, where he was a teammate of Randy Johnson, Jack Del Rio, and Rodney Peete under coach Rod Dedeaux. McGwire was named the College Baseball Player of the Year by the Sporting News in 1984. After 3 years at USC and a stint on the 1984 U.S. Olympic team, McGwire was drafted 10th overall in the 1984 Major League Baseball draft by the Oakland Athletics. In 1984 and 85, he played for the Single-A Modesto A's. He began the 1986 season in the minors with the Double-A Huntsville Stars and Triple-A Tacoma Tigers. McGwire debuted in the majors on August 22nd of 1986. He did not get a hit until his third game on August 24th. In 18 games with Oakland in 1986, he hit 3 home runs and had 9 RBIs, but a lowly 189 batting average. Retaining his rookie status in 1987, McGwire hit 4 home runs in the month of April, but followed in May with 15 and another 9 in June. Before the All-Star break arrived, he had totaled 33 home runs and earned a spot on the American League All-Star team. On August 11th, he broke Al Rosen's AL record of 37 home runs. 3 days later, McGwire broke the Major League record of 38, which Frank Robinson and Wally Berger had jointly held. In September, Mark hit 9 more home runs while posting monthly bests of a .351 batting average, of .419 on-base percentage, and 11 doubles, with 49 home runs in 2 games remaining in the regular season for him to reach 50 home runs. He missed the games in order to attend the birth of his first child. McGwire also totaled 118 RBIs, a .289 batting average, 97 runs scored, 28 doubles, a .618 slugging percentage, and a .370 on-base percentage. McGwire's 49 home runs as a rookie stood as a Major League record until Aaron Judge hit 52 for the New York Yankees in 2017. Not only did McGwire lead the AL in home runs in 1987, but he also tied for the Major League lead with Chicago Cubs right fielder Andre Dawson. McGwire also led the major leagues in slugging, finished second in the AL in adjusted on base plus slugging and total bases, and placed third in RBIs and on base plus slugging. He was unanimously chosen as the AL Rookie of the Year and finished 6th in the AL MVP voting. From 1988 to 1990, McGwire followed with 32, 33, and 39 home runs respectively, becoming the first major leaguer to hit 30-plus home runs in each of his first full 4 seasons. On July 3rd and 4th in 1988, he had game-winning home runs in the 16th inning of both games. Through May 2009, McGwire was tied for 3rd all-time with Joe DiMaggio in home runs over his first 2 calendar years in the major leagues with 71, behind Chuck Klein, who had 83, and Ryan Braun, who had 79. McGwire's most famous home run with the A's was likely his game-winning solo shot in the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 3 of the 1988 World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers and former A's closer Jay Howell. McGwire's game winner brought the A's their only victory in the 88 World Series, which they lost in 5 games. McGwire and his fellow Bash brother Jose Canseco played a large part in the 1989 championship club that defeated the San Francisco Giants in the famous Earthquake Series. Working diligently on his defense at first base, McGwire bristled at the notion that he was a one-dimensional player. He was generally regarded as a good fielder in his early years, even winning a Gold Glove award in 1990, the only one that the Yankees' Don Mattingly would not win between 1985 and 1994. In later years, his mobility decreased along with his defensive ability. His batting averages after his rookie season plummeted to .260, .231, and .235 from 1988 to 1990. In 1991, he bottomed out with a .201 average and 22 home runs. Manager Tony La Russa sat him for the final game of the season to avoid causing his batting average to dip below 200. Despite the declining averages, during this time of his career, McGwire's high base on balls totals allowed him to maintain an acceptable on-base percentage. In fact, when he hit 201, his OPS plus was 103, just over the league average. McGwire stated in an interview with Sports Illustrated that 1991 was the worst year of his life, with his on-field performance and marriage difficulties, and that he didn't lift a weight that entire season. With all that behind him, McGwire rededicated himself to working out harder than ever and received visual therapy from a sports vision specialist. The new-look McGwire hit 42 home runs and batted .268 in 1992 with an outstanding OPS plus of 175, the highest of his career to that point, and put on a victorious home run hitting show at the Home Run Derby during the 1992 All-Star break. His performance propelled the A's to the AL West Division title in '92, their 4th in 5 years. The A's lost in the playoffs to the eventual World Series champion, Toronto Blue Jays. Foot injuries limited McGwire to a total of 74 games in 1993 and 94, and just 9 home runs in each of those 2 seasons. He played just 104 games in 95, but his proportional totals were much improved as he hit 39 home runs and 317 at-bats. In 1996, McGwire belted a major league leading 52 home runs and 423 at-bats. He also hit for a career-high .312 batting average and led the league in both slugging and on-base percentage. McGwire's total of 363 home runs with the A's surpassed the previous franchise record. He was selected or voted to 9 American League All-Star teams while playing for the A's, including 6 consecutive appearances from 1987 through 1992. On April 21, 1997, McGwire became the 4th and final player to hit a home run over the left field roof of Detroit's Tiger Stadium, joining Harmon Killebrew, Frank Howard, and Cecil Fielder. The blast was estimated to have traveled 491 feet. On July 31st, having already amassed 34 home runs in the 1997 season, McGwire was traded from the Oakland Athletics to the St. Louis Cardinals for T.J. Matthews, Eric Ludwig, and Blake Stein. Despite playing just two-thirds of the season in the American League, he finished ninth in home runs. In 51 games with the Cardinals to finish the 1997 season, McGwire compiled a .253 average, 24 home runs, and 42 RBIs. Overall, in 1997, McGwire led the majors with 58 home runs. He also finished third in the major leagues in slugging percentage, fourth in OPS, fifth in OPS plus, and 10th in RBIs, and ninth in walks. He placed 16th in the NL MVP voting. It was the last year of his contract, so there was speculation that McGwire would play for the Cardinals only for the remainder of the year, then seek a long-term deal, possibly in Southern California, where he still lived. However, McGwire would end up signing a contract to stay in St. Louis. It is also believed that McGwire later encouraged Jim Edmonds, another Southern California resident who was traded to St. Louis, to forego free agency and sign a contract with the Cardinals in 2000. As the 1998 season progressed, it became clear that McGwire, Seattle Mariners outfielder Ken Griffey Jr., and Chicago Cubs outfielder Sammy Sosa were all on track to break Roger Maris's single-season home run record. The race to break the record first attracted media attention as the home run leader changed often throughout the season. On August 19th, Sosa hit his 48th home run to move ahead of McGwire. However, later that day, McGwire hit his 48th and 49th home runs to regain the lead. On September 8th, McGwire hit a pitch by the Cubs' Steve Traxel over the left field wall for his record-breaking 62nd home run, setting off massive celebrations at Busch Stadium. The fact that the game was against the Cubs meant that Sosa was able to congratulate McGwire personally on his achievement. Members of Maris's family were also present at the game. The ball was given to McGwire in a ceremony on the field by the stadium worker who found it. McGwire finished the 1998 season with 70 home runs, including 5 in his last 3 games, 4 ahead of Sosa's 66, a record that was broken by 3 seasons later in 2001 by Barry Bonds with 73. McGwire was honored with the inaugural Babe Ruth Home Run Award for leading Major League Baseball in home runs. Although McGwire had the prestige of the home run record, Sammy Sosa, who had fewer home runs but more RBIs and stolen bases, won the 1998 NL MVP award as his contributions helped propel the Cubs to the playoffs. The Cardinals finished third in the NL Central that year. Many credited the Sosa-McGwire home run chase in 1998 with saving baseball by attracting new, younger fans and bringing back old fans soured by the 94-95 MLB strike. Following the trade, McGwire would go on to play 5 seasons with the Cardinals, retiring following the 2001 season due to injuries and career decline. After his playing career ended, McGwire demonstrated coaching ability, personally assisting players such as Matt Holliday, Bobby Crosby, and Skip Schumacher before accepting an official role as hitting coach with an MLB team. On October 26, 2009, Cardinals manager Tony La Russa confirmed that McGwire would become the club's 5th hitting coach of La Russa's tenure with the Cardinals, replacing Hal McRae. McGwire received a standing ovation prior to the Cardinals home opener on April 12, 2010. In his 3 seasons as Cardinals hitting coach, the team's prolific offense led the National League in batting and on-base percentage, and the team finished second in runs scored. In early November 2012, McGwire rejected a contract extension to return as Cardinals hitting coach for the 2013 season. Instead, he accepted an offer for the same position with the Los Angeles Dodgers in order to be closer to his wife and 5 children. On June 11, 2013, McGwire was ejected for the first time as a coach during a bench-clearing brawl with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was suspended for 2 games starting the next day. On December 2, 2015, McGwire was named as the bench coach for the San Diego Padres, remaining there through the 2018 season. And then most recently, back on February 6th of this month, the A's hired McGwire as a special assistant in their player development department. So he does come with a bit of a complicated legacy for all of his on-field success. Steroids usage. In a 1998 article by Associated Press writer Steve Wilstein, McGwire admitted to taking Andro, an over-the-counter muscle enhancement product that had already been banned by the NFL and the IOC. However, use of the substance was not prohibited by Major League Baseball at the time, and it was not federally classified as an anabolic steroid in the United States until 2004. Jose Canseco released a book, Juiced, in 2005. In it, he wrote positively about steroids and made various claims Among them, that McGwire had used performance-enhancing drugs since the 1980s and that Canseco had personally injected him with them. In 2005, McGwire and Canseco were among 11 baseball players and executives subpoenaed to testify at a congressional hearing on steroids. During his testimony on March 17, 2005, McGwire declined to answer questions under oath when he appeared before the House Government Reform Committee. In a tearful opening statement, McGwire said, "Asking me or any other player to answer questions about who took steroids in front of television cameras will not solve the problem. If a player answers no, he simply will not be believed. If he answers yes, he risks public scorn and endless government investigations. My lawyers have advised me that I cannot answer these questions without jeopardizing my friends, my family, and myself. I will say, however, that it remains a fact in this country that any man should be regarded as innocent until proven guilty." On July 11, 2010, in an interview with Bob Costas, McGwire admitted to using steroids on and off for a decade and said, "I wish I had never touched steroids. It was foolish and it was a mistake. I truly apologize. Looking back, I wish I had never played during the steroid era." He admitted using them in the 1989-90 offseason and then after he was injured in 1993. He admitted using them on occasion throughout the 1990s, including during the 1998 season. McGwire said that he used steroids to recover from injuries. McGwire's decision to admit using steroids was prompted by his decision to become hitting coach of the St. Louis Cardinals. According to McGwire, he took steroids for health reasons rather than to improve performance. Despite his admission of steroid use, McGwire was criticized for refusing to acknowledge that his record-setting home run output in the late 1990s was aided by steroids. Bob Costa said he was surprised that although he gave McGwire multiple opportunities to do so, McGwire was never able to make this admission. Known as one of the top sluggers of his era, McGwire ended his career with 583 home runs, which was fifth most in history at the time of his retirement. When he hit his 500th career home run in 1999, he did so in 5,487 career at-bats, the fewest in Major League history. He led all of Major League Baseball in home runs in 5 different seasons, 1987, and each season from 1996 to 1999. His total of 245 home runs from 1996 to 1999 is the highest 4-season home run output in Major League history. In each of those 4 seasons, he exceeded 50 home runs, becoming the first player to do so. He was also the first player to hit 49 or more home runs 5 times, including his rookie season record of 49 in 1987. With a career average of one home run every 10.61 at-bats, he holds the MLB record for most home runs per at-bat, leading second place Babe Ruth by more than a full at-bat. Over his 16-year career, he played in 1,874 games with a .263 career batting average, and along with those 583 home runs, had 1,414 RBIs, 1,626 hits, 1,167 runs scored, 1,317 walks, and a .982 OPS. Of those 16 seasons, and I guess you could say 4.5 I guess you could take out 4.5 of them. 11.5 of them, I guess you give it the full 12, were with the Oakland Athletics. He played in 1,329 games, batting .260 with 363 home runs, 941 RBIs, 773 runs scored, 1,157 hits, 847 walks, and a .931 OPS. In A's franchise history, his 363 home runs are the most. His 941 RBIs are the 4th most. His 1,157 hits are 22nd. 847 walks is 4th. 551 slug is 3rd. 773 runs is 10th. And his .931 OPS is 4th. So we were pleased and honored to tell the story of one of the franchise's greats in Mark McGwire. Got his start there and concluded with leaving at the time as the MLB home run leader, which was later broken by Barry Bonds. But nevertheless, he got his start in the green and gold, and it was really fascinating reliving his story. I'm sure many are very familiar with his name. Definitely comes with a complicated legacy because he is an admitted steroid user, but nevertheless, it was at a time where baseball was basically like the Wild West, and there weren't really any laid out guidelines of these certain substances until 2004. So predating that, it's kind of hard to fully throw the book at someone like that. But nevertheless, he does come back to the franchise in a baseball operations role, and looking forward to seeing the wisdom and the knowledge that he'll pass along to this 2026 iteration of the club. But that's all. Wish the best of luck. He does seem like someone that can provide a lot from his playing experiences and how to handle the rigors of being a professional. And looking forward to seeing him back in the green and gold. Perhaps we'll be able to talk to him prior to one of these games as A's Day at one of these A's games at Sutter Health Park. If Mark is around the ballpark, would love to talk baseball with him about his days in the green and gold and everything about our great game, especially on the hitting side of things. I'm sure he is an abundance of knowledge, and it was a treat to conclude this offseason series edition of This Player in A's History with the franchise leader in home runs, Mark McGwire. And with that brings us to the conclusion of another edition of A's Day. On today's show, we covered the trade that went down yesterday as the A's get minor league right-hander AJ Causey in exchange for Mitch Spence with a trade with the Kansas City Royals. We discussed who the A's are getting in Causey, what impact he may have in the 2026 year. And then later we discussed a little bit of a preview of what the World Baseball Classic is if we weren't super familiar, and which 12, perhaps 13 players are representing the A's in this upcoming March international tournament. And we concluded, before heading into the weekend, this offseason edition of This Player in A's History. We talked about the franchise leader in home runs and franchise legend that is back in the baseball operations department starting this year, Mark McGwire. Hope you all enjoyed. We appreciate you hearing our thoughts on everything A's baseball. We're going to get out of here for the weekend. We'll be back behind the mic for Tuesday's show. On Tuesday, we'll discuss any further transactions that have gone down, as well as doing a little bit of housekeeping. We are going to be changing up our formatting as we are getting closer to the season. Like we hinted during today's show, there are going to be more episodes available throughout the end of February and all throughout March, and when you can expect us coming into this new year. So a lot to unpack on Tuesday's show. Looking forward to it. And we will do a quick spring training check-in of any of the competitions that have been going down and any other tidbits of note surrounding A's baseball. That's all I have for you today. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you all have a great long President's Day weekend. And we'll be back behind the mic here for Tuesday's show with some fresh thoughts. Take care, everyone. And Holy Toledo, let's go A's.